There may have been a morning when you reached for 2 cups before you remembered that only one would be filled. You didn't cry. You just put the second one back and closed the cupboard. Maybe it isn't the cups. Maybe you still cook for more than one. Maybe you hear something worth repeating and turn toward a chair that no longer holds anyone. The phone stays quiet for days, and you tell yourself you've come to enjoy the peace, and most of the time that's even true. But sometimes, in the middle of that quiet, a question rises on its own. Does anyone still need me? If that question has ever found you, stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, something is going to shift, not in your circumstances, but in the way you see them. Buddhism does not begin by telling you the pain isn't real. It begins by looking at it honestly, at why the loss of being needed can feel like the loss of yourself. And then it shows you a door most people never notice, that a role can end without your life losing its meaning. We'll walk through 6 truths together, not to make you need no one, but to help you stop abandoning yourself while you wait for someone to call. And it begins with understanding what was truly lost. Truth 1. You didn't only lose people. You lost the person you were around them. Consider a woman, we'll call her Helen, 72, and though she isn't anyone in particular, you may recognize her. For nearly 40 years, Helen woke before the rest of the house. She made the breakfast. She remembered the appointments, the medicines, the birthdays no one else thought to track. Then her husband passed the children, built homes of their own, and one morning she woke at 6 as she always had, and realized there was no breakfast anyone was waiting for. At first, she thought she missed the sound of people in the house. But over time she understood it was something quieter than that. What she missed most was a feeling she used to carry without noticing. I know what to do here. My being here makes a difference. That is the loss almost no one names. You did not only lose the people, you lost the version of yourself that came alive in their presence, the one who was needed, who was capable, who mattered by simply doing what the day required. When they went, that self went with them, and you have been grieving 2 absences while the world only sees one. Here is where the pain begins to trick us. When a role has been quiet, the mind starts building a chain link by link so smoothly you never hear it forge. No one needs my help anymore. And then, so I am no longer useful. And then, so I am no longer important. And then, in the dark, the last and cruelest link, perhaps the meaningful part of my life, is already behind me. Let me say this plainly. That chain is understandable. It is not true. Notice whether any of this belongs to you. Have you felt the day grow strangely long since you stopped working? Have you waited for a child to call, not only to hear their voice, but to know you were still somewhere in their thoughts? Have you felt guilty simply resting because for your whole life you only felt worthy when you were serving someone? And when there is no one left to fix things, for do you even know what you would want to do for yourself? If those questions land somewhere tender, I want you to hear this clearly, because it is the beginning of everything that follows. Buddhism does not rush to cover a wound with comfort. It begins by looking at suffering honestly, naming it, feeling its real shape before ever trying to move through it. There is a simple truth beneath that patience. You cannot set down a pain you are still pretending not to carry. So let us not pretend. Missing the feeling of being needed is not selfishness. Aching when your children live their own full lives does not mean you want to hold them back. Feeling hollow after retirement does not mean you lacked strength. What you are living through is one of the largest changes a human being can face, the loss of an identity, and almost no one is prepared for it or even told it is coming. You are not falling apart. You are grieving a self that was real and worth grieving. If you're willing, try something small before we go on. Finish this sentence in your own mind or out loud. For many years I was the one who, and then gently this one. Now that this is changing, the part I miss most is, don't try to fix the answer. Don't argue with it. Just let yourself name what was actually lost, because naming it truthfully is the first thing that loosens its grip. But this is exactly where the pain grows quietly dangerous. Because that role mattered so deeply for so long, we begin to believe we are the role that when it ends, we end with it. And this is where Buddhism asks us to look closer and to ask a question we rarely think to ask. Of everything you have ever been in this life, which part was ever meant to stay? Truth, too. A role can end without your life losing its value. There is a line at the heart of Buddhist teaching, old as the tradition itself, and it sounds almost too simple to matter. Everything that is built from conditions will change when those conditions change. Say it slowly, and it stops being abstract. It becomes your life. The role of the mother my children need every day was never a permanent thing. It was built out of conditions, small children, a shared house, a body strong enough to carry everyone. When the children grew, when the house emptied, when the years asked something back from your strength, the conditions shifted. And so the role shifted with them. Hear this carefully, because the mind loves to twist it. The fact that the role ended does not mean the role was meaningless. It means the opposite. It means the role did exactly what it was made to do, for exactly as long as it was needed. A thing does not have to last forever to have mattered completely. Let me offer you an image to hold. A role is like a robe that life asks you to wear for a season. For a while you wore the robe of the daughter, then the robe of the wife or the husband, the robe of the parent, the robe of the worker who never missed a day, the robe of the caregiver who held the whole family together with hands no one thanked, and perhaps someday the robe of the one who needs care from others. Each robe was real. Each one had weight and warmth, and a shape that fit the years you wore it. But when a robe is finally set down, the person who wore it does not disappear. The robe has changed. The life inside it is still here. Now, I want to be careful with you, because this teaching is often delivered coldly, and cold is the last thing you need. Someone will tell you everything is impermanent, so don't be sad. That is not wisdom. That is dismissal wearing the clothes of wisdom. Impermanence does not say that what you lost was worthless. It says something gentler and far more honest. One form of meaning can come to an end, so that another form has room to begin. There was an old carpenter who stopped working when his hands lost their steadiness. He believed the thing that made him valuable was gone, because for his whole life his value had lived in his hands. Then, one afternoon, his grandson brought over a broken chair and asked how to mend it. The old man did not take the tools. He sat beside the boy, and he named each step, and he watched the small hands do the work his own no longer could. His worth had once lived in the doing. Now it lived in the passing on. The work did not disappear. It only changed hands. But I won't make you a promise I cannot keep. I won't tell you that everyone finds some grand new calling waiting on the other side of loss. Some of you no longer have the strength for large undertakings. Some of you have no grandchildren nearby, no community within reach, no easy way to be among people. Some of you are living with pain that does not let up. Your worth does not depend on rushing out to find a shining new purpose. It does not depend on producing anything at all. It rests on something quieter and we will keep walking toward it. Before we go on, try this in thought or on paper. Bring to mind 3 roles that have moved through your life, and after each one, say to yourself, "This was something I did. It was not the whole of what I am." Say it until the difference between the two begins to feel real. Because knowing that a robe can be set down does not yet quiet the ache when the phone stays silent. Beneath the wish to be needed lies another wish, one carried by every human heart that has ever beaten. We want to know that we are still loved. And being needed, it turns out, is not the same thing. Truth 3. Being needed is not the same as being loved. For most of your life, the two felt like one thing. Someone needed you, and so you knew you were loved. The need was the proof. You never had to ask the deeper question because the answer arrived every single day in the form of someone who could not manage without you. And then the need thinned out, and with it, the proof. Here is what almost no one tells you. Those are 2 different questions wearing the same face. Do they still need me? Is the love between us still there? They feel identical. They are not, and they do not always have the same answer. Think of a mother who once spoke with her son nearly every day. After he married, the calls grew further apart, and every evening the phone did not ring. She heard the same sentence form inside her: "His new life has no room for me." Then one day he called. Not for anything important, he only wanted the recipe for a dish she used to make when he was small. The call lasted 4 minutes, and when she set the phone down, she felt 2 things at once, and they surprised her. She was glad, and she was grieving. Because she understood something in that moment. She had not only wanted to be loved, she had wanted to be needed the way she used to be, to sit again at the center of his life the way she once did. That is not a crime. That is one of the most human aches there is. But it helps to see it honestly, because there is a name for what happens when love quietly becomes a demand to remain essential. The Buddhist tradition calls it clinging, and it teaches that clinging, even loving clinging, is where a particular kind of suffering is born. There is an old teaching that describes boundless love, using the image of a mother protecting her only child. People sometimes read it as a command for parents to sacrifice endlessly, but that is not its heart. Its heart is this: the largest kind of love wishes the beloved well, safe, whole, at peace, even when their life no longer revolves around you. So let me lay 2 kinds of love side by side and let you feel the difference. One says, "Stay close so I can keep feeling important." The other says, "May you live well, even as what we are to each other changes, and may I learn to live well too." The first binds, the second frees. And the strange thing is that the second kind, the one that asks for less, is the one that tends to bring people closer. Now I have to stop and say something, because this teaching can be misused, and I won't let it be. None of this is meant to excuse a family that has truly grown careless. There are children who neglect their parents. There are elders treated as burdens, spoken to as afterthoughts, left alone, far past what anyone should bear. That pain is real, and no amount of philosophy should be used to smooth it over or tell you to feel grateful for less than you deserve. But even then, even when someone has failed you, there is a difference between their absence and what you do with it. When you place your entire worth in their hands, one wound quietly becomes 2. There is the pain of their absence, and there is the second pain, the one you add yourself, taking their absence as proof that you no longer have value. You cannot always control the first. You have more say than you think over the second. So here is a small turning of the question. Instead of asking, "Who still needs me?" try asking, "Where can love move through me today?" And let the answer be small. Send a message that asks nothing back. Wish someone well as they cross your mind. Feed the birds. Tend one plant on the windowsill. Speak to your own tired body with some tenderness. Refuse, just for today, to say a single cruel thing to yourself. Because here may be the quietest freedom that later life offers. It is not the discovery that you need no one. It is the discovery that love can remain real and warm, and yours to give long after the depending has ended. Let's pause here and change the direction of our gaze. For 3 truths now we have been looking outward at the people who have gone, the roles that ended, the love that changed shape. But there is a question underneath all of them that we have not yet asked. What if the person most in need of your kindness right now is the one you've overlooked for years yourself? Notice for a moment how you're sitting. Notice your hands where they rest. These are the same hands that carried groceries upstairs, that held children in the dark, that prepared thousands of meals, that signed the papers and wiped the tears and kept going through days that no one else fully understood. They have served everyone. The question now is whether they might at last learn to serve you too. Truth 4. Do not abandon yourself because others are absent. When you live alone, you are never quite alone. There is a voice that stays with you, the one inside your own head, and over time it becomes either the kindest companion you have or the cruelest. Here is something worth knowing. 2 people can live the very same quiet life in the very same empty house and have entirely different experiences of it. The difference is often not their circumstances. It is what they say to themselves in the silence. Picture a widow sitting alone after supper. The dishes are done. The evening stretches ahead. And without deciding to, she begins to listen to a familiar broadcast, one that plays inside her own mind every night at this same hour. No wonder no one calls. I've become dull. I've become a burden. My useful years are behind me. She has heard these lines so many times, she no longer notices they are playing. They feel less like thoughts and more like facts, like the temperature of the room. Then one evening a single question interrupts the broadcast. Would I ever speak this way to another widow sitting right here beside me? And she knows at once that she would not. She would never be so cruel to a grieving stranger. She would soften her voice. She would offer her some mercy. And yet she has been pouring this cruelty over herself night after night and calling it honesty. I want to be careful here because there is a shallow version of this idea and it will not help you. I am not asking you to stand in front of the mirror and recite that everything is wonderful, that your best years are surely ahead, that you never feel lonely and you don't need a soul. Those words will only ring false because some part of you knows they aren't true, and a comfort you don't believe is no comfort at all. This is something else. Listen to the difference. Instead of everything is fine, you might simply say, this is a hard evening. Instead of I'm never lonely, you might say, missing someone does not make me weak. Instead of pretending you need no one, I'm allowed to want comfort. And then the quiet vow underneath all of them, I will not punish myself for being human. I can carry this evening 1 hour at a time. There is an old image from the Buddhist teachings that fits this moment exactly, and it has stayed alive for more than 2,000 years because it is so precisely true to how we suffer. When something painful happens, it is said to be like being struck by an arrow. That is the first arrow. It genuinely hurts, and no philosophy asks you to pretend otherwise. But then very often we reach back and fire a second arrow into the same wound. A thought, a judgment, a story we tell about what the pain must mean about us. Watch how it works on an ordinary evening. The first arrow, no one called today. The second arrow, the one you fire yourself, no one called because I am worthless. The first arrow you did not choose, it landed. But the second arrow, that one you can learn slowly to lower, not by denying the first, not by pretending the day didn't sting, only by refusing to add cruelty to sorrow that was already heavy enough. That is the whole practice. It is not grand. It changes everything. There is a line in the old teachings that puts the responsibility gently where it belongs, that you, in the end, are your own protector, that if not you, then who could it be? It is not telling you to refuse all help or to need no one. It is telling you not to be the one person who walks out on you. So, here is something you can try tonight or any evening the silence turns against you. Rest a hand on your own chest or on your own arm, the way you might touch a friend who was hurting, and say out loud if you can, "This is a lonely moment. I will not make it crueler by turning on myself." You don't have to believe it fully. You don't have to feel it change anything. You only have to say it once and mean it a little. Because as that inner voice grows even slightly kinder, a different question begins to surface. No longer who needs me, but something you may not have asked in 40 years. Who am I when no role is calling my name? Truth 5. Meet the person who was hidden beneath a lifetime of duties. Here is a strange thing that happens to people who spend a lifetime being needed. They wake one day finally free to do whatever they wish and discover they have no idea what that is. It is not that they lost the answer, it is that they were never asked the question. For 40-50 years, every day began with what someone else required, what the children needed, what the job demanded, what the household could not run without. There was no room left over to wonder what you might have wanted, and so quietly you stopped wondering at all. The silence takes a roll away. That is the loss we've been sitting with. But the silence does something else too, something we rarely notice through the grief. It hands back a question you haven't had time to hold in decades. There is an old teaching in the Zen tradition that cuts straight to it. It doesn't ask you to become someone new. It asks about what was there before all the labels arrived, before you were the mother everyone leaned on, before you were the husband who solved every problem, before you were the worker who never rested, or the caregiver who held it all together. Beneath every role you ever wore, something in you was quietly present before any of them had a name. I don't want to make that abstract, so let me tell you about a retired teacher, Margaret. I spent 40 years asking what my students needed, she once said. After I retired, I realized I had never once asked what still made me curious. She decided to try watercolor. Her first painting was clumsy, the colors bled where she didn't want them, nothing sat where she meant it to. And she nearly stopped right there because she wasn't good at it. Then she caught herself, and she understood something about her whole life. For 40 years she had turned every single thing she touched into a task to be done well, a performance to be graded. And here, for the first time she could remember, was something she could do that served no one, earned no praise, and had to meet no standard at all. The painting was not good, but the afternoon was not empty. I want to be careful about one thing because it matters. This is not about keeping busy. Keeping busy can be its own kind of running away, one more way to fill the hours, so you never have to sit with yourself. That is not what we're after. What we're after is quieter than a hobby. It's the thing that makes your mind open rather than close. The thing that makes tomorrow hold the smallest bit of interest. A question you find you want to keep following. A small pleasure that needs no audience to be real. something you're allowed to do slowly, clumsily, imperfectly, precisely because no one is watching and nothing depends on it. If you don't know where to begin, don't reach for a list of 20 things. Just stand for a moment at 4 small doors and notice which one you lean toward. There is the door of curiosity, reading about history or nature or an art you never studied, learning a language you always meant to, listening to the story of another person's life, following a question you never had time to chase. There is the door of creation, drawing, writing down the memories before they fade, knitting, mending, shaping something with your hands, cooking a dish meant for no one but yourself. There is the door of presence, watching the birds, sitting in the morning light with nothing to accomplish, tending a plant, listening to a piece of music without doing anything else at the same time. And there is the door of gentle mastery, learning one song, practicing one small skill, finishing one book, walking a little further than yesterday as far as the body allows and no further. You do not need to walk through all 4. You only need to find the one that pulls at you even faintly. And then, if you're willing, try this for 7 days. Give 15 or 20 minutes to something that produces nothing, proves nothing, earns nothing, and afterward ask yourself only one question. Did that make me feel a little more present than before? Not was I good at it, not was it useful, not would anyone be impressed, only whether for those few minutes you were a little more here in your own life. Because rediscovering yourself matters, it truly does. But a life turned entirely inward can slowly grow narrow too. The heart does not only need something to enjoy, it needs somewhere for its care to go. Truth 6, purpose in later life is not importance. It is contribution. Somewhere along the way we were taught that purpose and importance are the same thing, that to have a reason for living you must be busy, be central, be the one without whom things fall apart. And so when the busyness ends and you are no longer indispensable to anyone, it can feel as though your purpose ended with it. But those were never the same thing. Importance asks the world to depend on you. Purpose asks only that your being here makes some small corner of life a little warmer than it would be without you. There's a story from the Buddhist tradition I think of often, and it isn't the kind you'd expect. One of the Buddha's oldest disciples had grown elderly, and he still kept to a hard, austere way of living, sleeping rough, owning almost nothing, long past the age when anyone would have blamed him for resting. The Buddha, seeing him, warned gently, suggested he might allow himself an easier life now. The old monk did not refuse out of pride. He explained that he kept to his way for 2 quiet reasons. It brought him a real peace here and now in his own remaining days, and it might stand as an example for those who came after a small light left burning for the next generation to see by. And the Buddha did not argue. He agreed that a life lived this way brought benefit and happiness to many. Notice what that story is quietly saying. This was a man far past his strength. His worth no longer had anything to do with how much he could do or how much others still needed from him. And yet his way of living, his presence, the example of him, these still reached forward and touched lives he would never meet. You do not have to stand at the center of someone's life to leave warmth in it. I think this is what so many people are reaching toward, often without the words for it. The ones who take in a frightened rescue animal, who feed the birds and the squirrels through winter, who plant something, who call a neighbor just to ask how they are, who write one kind sentence to a stranger who needed it that day, who pass on quietly the thing a lifetime taught them. What they found was never really the activity itself. It was the discovery that their care still had somewhere to go. So I won't send you off to find a great new purpose. Instead, choose a circle small enough to actually tend. On the days when your energy is almost gone, let the circle be tiny. Water one plant. Set out water for the birds. Send a single blessing to someone's name as it crosses your mind. Feed yourself a real meal gently. That is enough. That counts. On the days you have a little more, let it widen. Call someone else who is also living alone. Pass along a book you've finished. Speak with the neighbor for a while. Offer a younger person one thing your experience taught you. And on the days your strength and circumstances allow, let it widen further still. Volunteer. Mentor someone. Record the family stories before they're lost. Care for an animal that has no one. Give what you have to give in the measure you have to give it. But hear me on this, because it's the whole point. None of this is a new duty. You are not being asked to prove your worth all over again by sacrificing what little you have left. Some of you have already given until you are empty, and you do not owe the world one more performance of usefulness. Contribution is meant to make your life warmer, not to turn your remaining years into one more test you're afraid of failing. Perhaps the question was never how many people still need me. Perhaps the better question, the one that can actually be answered, is this. Is there one corner of life that becomes a little gentler because I am still here? Let's return to where we began. The woman in the kitchen is still there. She still takes down 1 cup now, not 2. The phone on the counter may still be silent. The house around her is still quiet. But the quiet has begun to say something different. It used to say, "You no longer matter." Now, if she listens closely, it asks something gentler instead. Now that the old roles have grown still, how will you care for the life that is still here? There is a teaching near the end of the Buddha's life, where he told those around him to be a lamp unto themselves, to be their own island, their own place of refuge. And I want to explain it before it can be misunderstood, because it is easy to hear it wrong. An island is not a place that refuses the ocean. It does not turn its back on the water or pretend it is alone in the sea. An island is simply ground solid enough that the tides cannot carry it away. To become a refuge for yourself does not mean you stop needing friendship. It does not mean you refuse help or forget the ones you've lost or stop hoping the phone will ring. It does not mean closing the door on the world. It means only this: when others cannot be present, you no longer continue their absence by abandoning yourself. So here is what remains when the roles have gone quiet. You may no longer be needed in all the ways you once were. The children have homes of their own now. The workplace learned to go on without you. The chair across the table may stay empty, and some evenings that emptiness will still ache. I won't promise you it won't. But a role ending is not the same as a life losing its meaning. You are still able to notice beauty where it appears. You are still able to learn something you didn't know yesterday. You are still able to offer patience to a world in a hurry, gentleness to a world grown harsh, and understanding to someone who feels invisible, because you know now exactly how that feels. Perhaps no one needs you to carry everything anymore. Perhaps life is finally asking you to set some of that weight down, to turn at last toward the one who carried it all this time. To let the days that remain be shaped not by how indispensable you are, but by how peacefully you can live, how honestly you can love, and how gently your being here can touch one small corner of the world. You are not the role that ended. You are the life that is still here.